The person who taught the world about divine love also warned against a specific type of attachment that destroys your soul. Today, psychologists call it anxious attachment. Rumi called it spiritual poison. He said when you love from emptiness, seeking to fill a void inside yourself, you become addicted to drama, chaos, and people who can never truly love you back. But when you love from fullness, from a secure connection to something greater than yourself, everything changes. Modern research proves Rumi was right. There is a type of attachment that makes toxic relationships impossible. Have you ever noticed how some people seem naturally good at relationships, while others keep repeating the same painful patterns? How some individuals attract healthy partners, while others magnetize drama and chaos? The difference is not luck. It is not looks. It is not even compatibility. According to new research published by the London Academy of Iranian Studies, the difference lies in something much deeper: your attachment style. But here is what will blow your mind. The same patterns that modern psychology discovered in 2024 were perfectly described by Rumi over 800 years ago. He understood something that psychologists are only now proving with scientific research. There are different ways to attach to people, and the way you attach determines everything about your relationships. Let me tell you what researchers have discovered. According to attachment theory, how you experienced love as a child creates an internal blueprint that shapes every relationship you will ever have. If your caregivers were inconsistent, unreliable, or emotionally unavailable, your brain learned to equate love with uncertainty. As a result, as an adult, you might find yourself attracted to mixed signals, drama, and people who keep you guessing. This is called anxious attachment. People with this style often feel like they need constant reassurance. They might check their phone obsessively waiting for a text back. They might interpret a partner being quiet as a sign something is wrong. They might find themselves attracted to people who are emotionally unavailable because the uncertainty triggers the same neural pathways that their brain associates with love. But here is where it gets really interesting. Rumi understood this pattern centuries before psychology had a name for it. In his teachings, he distinguished between what researchers now call healthy attachment and toxic attachment. He said there are people who love from a place of need and desperation. They attach to others because they feel empty inside and hope that another person will fill that void. Rumi observed that when you love from emptiness, you become possessive, jealous, and controlling. You mistake obsession for love. You confuse drama for passion. You think that if someone makes you feel anxious, it must mean you care about them deeply. But Rumi said this type of attachment is actually the opposite of real love. It is what he called false attachment. Modern psychology confirms exactly what Rumi taught. When you have anxious attachment, your nervous system is constantly activated in relationships. Your brain releases stress hormones like cortisol when your partner does not respond immediately. But it also releases dopamine when they do respond, creating an addiction-like cycle. This is why toxic relationships can feel so intense and why healthy relationships might feel boring at first. Research published in 2024 shows that people with anxious attachment styles are more likely to stay in relationships that are harmful to their mental health. They are more likely to tolerate emotional manipulation, inconsistency, and even abuse because their attachment system mistakes these patterns for love. But Rumi did not just identify the problem. He discovered the solution. He taught about what modern researchers now call spiritual attachment or secure attachment. This is when you love from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. When you feel secure within yourself, you do not need another person to complete you. You can love them without needing to possess them. Rumi said that this type of attachment comes from developing a secure connection to something greater than yourself. Not necessarily religious, but a sense of purpose, meaning, or connection to the larger flow of life. When you feel this deeper security, your relationships transform completely. People with secure attachment, according to research, are comfortable with intimacy, but also comfortable being alone. They can express their needs without becoming demanding. They can give their partner space without feeling threatened. They do not need constant reassurance because they have an internal sense of worth that does not depend on another person's approval. Studies show that securely attached individuals are more likely to attract partners who are also emotionally healthy. They are better at resolving conflicts. They have higher relationship satisfaction. And here is the key part. They are naturally repelled by toxic behaviors that people with anxious attachment might mistake for passion. Rumi understood that this transformation happens through what he called inner work. Modern psychology calls it healing your attachment wounds. This means recognizing the patterns you learned in childhood and consciously choosing to respond differently as an adult. For example, if you grew up with inconsistent caregivers, you might have learned that love requires constant vigilance. You might check your partner's phone, need to know where they are at all times, or feel anxious when they spend time with friends. But healing means recognizing these as survival strategies from childhood that no longer serve you. One of the most powerful insights from both Rumi's teachings and modern attachment research is that you can actually rewire your attachment style. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity, which means it can form new neural pathways throughout your life. This means the patterns you learned in childhood are not permanent. The process involves several steps. First, you need to become aware of your attachment patterns. Notice what triggers your anxiety in relationships. Do you feel abandoned when your partner needs space? Do you interpret their bad mood as rejection? Do you find yourself attracted to people who are emotionally unavailable? Second, you need to develop what researchers call emotional regulation skills. This means learning to soothe yourself when your attachment system gets activated. Instead of immediately texting your partner when you feel anxious, you might take deep breaths, go for a walk, or remind yourself that their behavior is not necessarily about you. Third, you need to practice secure behaviors, even when they feel uncomfortable at first. This might mean giving your partner space when your instinct is to cling. It might mean expressing your needs directly instead of hoping they will guess. It might mean choosing consistency over excitement in your relationships. Rumi taught that this process requires what he called patience with yourself. Change does not happen overnight. Your nervous system needs time to learn that healthy love is safe, even if it feels different from what you are used to. Modern research confirms this. Studies show that people can move from anxious attachment to secure attachment through therapy, healthy relationships, and conscious practice. But it requires persistence and self-compassion. One of the most fascinating findings from recent research is that spiritual practices can actually accelerate this healing process. Meditation, mindfulness, and what researchers call spiritual attachment can help regulate your nervous system and develop the inner security that Rumi wrote about. Spiritual attachment does not mean being religious. It means feeling connected to something larger than your individual ego. This might be nature, art, music, a sense of purpose, or simply the mystery of existence itself. When you feel this connection, you are less likely to put all your emotional needs onto one person. Rumi said that when you love from this place of connection rather than emptiness, your relationships become a source of joy rather than anxiety. You can appreciate your partner without needing to control them. You can enjoy intimacy without losing yourself. You can handle conflicts without feeling like the relationship is in danger. Research shows that people with secure attachment have several key characteristics. They trust that their partners care about them, even during disagreements. They can ask for support without feeling ashamed. They can give support without feeling drained. They see relationships as a way to grow together rather than a way to complete themselves. But here is what Rumi understood that many modern approaches miss. Developing secure attachment is not just about fixing your relationship problems. It is about becoming the person you are meant to be. When you stop looking to other people to fill the empty spaces inside you, you can focus your energy on developing your talents, pursuing your purpose, and contributing to the world. This is what Rumi meant when he talked about loving from fullness. When you feel whole within yourself, your love becomes a gift you give freely, rather than a desperate need you try to get met. And paradoxically, this is what makes you most attractive to healthy partners. So if you recognize yourself in these patterns, if you find yourself repeatedly attracted to unavailable people, or staying in relationships that drain you, remember what Rumi taught. You are not broken. You are not doomed to repeat these cycles forever. Your attachment style is simply a pattern you learned to survive in childhood. And like any pattern, it can be changed. Start by developing a relationship with yourself. Learn to enjoy your own company. Find activities that make you feel connected to something larger than your individual concerns. Practice soothing yourself when you feel anxious, instead of immediately reaching for your phone or seeking reassurance from others. Most importantly, be patient with the process. As Rumi said, transformation happens slowly, like the way spring gradually melts winter. But when it happens, when you learn to love from wholeness rather than emptiness, everything in your life changes. Not just your relationships, but your entire experience of being alive. This is Rumi's greatest gift to us. The understanding that love is not about finding someone to complete you, but about becoming so complete within yourself that your love becomes a celebration rather than a desperate search. Modern psychology proves he was right all along.